All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our May Jet.Build webinar series. Thank you for the patience here and just trying different systems. Still trying to figure out the kinks to LinkedIn Live in general. Not an easy system, generally speaking, to work. Anyhow, welcome. In today's webinar, in May's webinar with Jet, we're going to review the construction module in particular on the Jet.Build platform. And what we're looking at right now is going to be the Jet.Build dashboard. So what you'll see is on the left-hand side here, that's going to be the admin, the management toolbar, where on the top, you'll see some general action items. Below that, you'll see portfolio management, portfolio overview. That's where we're sitting now. It's going to do exactly what it sounds like. It's going to be a roll-up of your portfolio operations, overdue, open, and due soon tasks, as you can see here, where you can also dive into those tasks in particular. I'm going to flip down this active projects module, and I'm going to select an example, a demo project that we created, called it FAA expansion, which brings us, as you can see on the left, project applications overview. All right, so now we're on the overview page for this specific project. You can see you got weather, you got some site cams, project actionables. So what we saw was for portfolio actionables, and this is now specific to this project that we're looking at, with some status bars that you can click into and immediately address those items. And then the balance, of this overview page is editable, so you can add or remove what you want, what you don't want. Just some examples here, like your pay app, change order log, RFI, status and log, and then you'll see a calendar with all of the actionables that you're either involved in or responsible for. And that's just a quick overview of the Jet.Build dashboard for project specific applications. I'll drop down. You'll see the three main modules on the left: accounting, collaboration, construction. I'm going to go ahead and hit construction here. And let's go ahead and start with submittal process. So I'm on construction submittals, and right now what you're looking at is the submittals landing page. So this general action page structure, this template, as I'll refer to it, is going to be very similar across the Jet.Build solutions, intentionally so, right, to simplify how your teams are leveraging solutions. Each solution, obviously in this case submittals, each solution is going to have its kind of unique variables associated with them. So in the case of submittals, of course, you'll see we have a submittal log, a submittal registry, again, unique specifically to submittals, as well as comparing submittal versions. But before we dive into specific solutions, I'll go ahead and start with just the basics, adding a submittal. On the top right, add submittal, pretty self-explanatory, right? So that's going to be pretty uniformed across Jet. Add submittal, add budget, add schedule, etc. will always be on the top right there. And here we're seeing the example template that is your action item, your workflow that you're establishing. In this case, it's a submittal. Here you'll be able to add recipients by groups. This is pulling from project directories and or individuals. Again, this is also pulling from project directories. And you'll see the ability to add or remove as you see fit. You could also do this after you've created the submittal itself. Add your due date, again, self-explanatory. Now here are some unique variables to the submittal solution itself, where you have the ability to link the submittal to a spec section. So this is going to pull from your specifications, the way that you set it up, from the specifications module. You have the ability to search, right, words, numbers, whatever. Anyways, example linking right there. And then also the ability to link to registry items. We'll also look at that. It's from your submittal registry, like we saw a moment ago. Add an about if you'd like. Drag and drop and or click to add files here. Self-explanatory as well. And here, what you're seeing are predefined workflows. So these are custom workflows that we've created, for example. However, you also have the ability to manually add and or manually adjust your workflow accordingly, right? So if you add a custom predefined workflow, you can also add manually there as well. Add the submittal. What that will do is it'll kick an email out to everybody who you've just added as a recipient and or as a workflow member. They'll get email notification saying, hey, you've been added to submittal number 12, for example. Click here to address that submittal, to view an address. Also, what you'll see on the top right is the notification area. So if you've been added to that submittal, it'll ding you here on the top right. You also have notifications here as a solution on the top left, as well as open items. So if you've been assigned to that submittal and if it's open, then it'll be reflected in all of those areas. So it's very easy to understand what your actionables are for your project, generally speaking. Now, before we dive into another layer, I also want to highlight, you'll see on the top here, you have the ability to do print log, and that'll give you exactly what it sounds like. It'll give you a summary of, overall of your submittals. You also have the ability to filter by open. So what that will do is exactly what it sounds like, filter by what is only open. Granted that would be what you'd want to see. And then now going into address the submittal itself, you'll see this correspondence, this chat action icon. I'm going to go ahead and click that. When I click that, it opens up a new tab. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and click on a different one. I'll just have to move what screen I'm sharing. So just bear with me for one moment. I just want to find us a little bit better of an example. I'm sorry for that. Give me one moment here. Okay, great. So you'll see now I've just switched the tab that I'm sharing. The chat correspondence button that I click opened up the page that you're looking at now, which is the correspondence. This is specific for submittals. However, correspondence, generally speaking, across the entirety of the platform of Jet exists for each solution. And this is where you're going to communicate. So it's where you run comms. It's where you're going to add additional files. It's where you're going to manage workflows, as you see here, manage workflow. It'll give you a pop-up to do exactly that, manage the workflow, as well as view recipients. Those are people that are receiving notifications based on updates on the submittal process. You can see here, you can respond, add whatever information in terms of text as well as files. You can add a status, and all of that will get logged below as you see the response history, right? So that's going to be generally speaking, that's how you're going to manage every single action item on Jet is via the correspondence. That's where you manage workflows. That's where you manage data, files, etc. So I'm going to flip back to our prior tab, which is the submittal landing page. Right, again, so all I did was click this correspondence. That opens up a new tab. Because I'm screen sharing it, I just have to switch which tab you're seeing. Otherwise, it'll just automatically populate for you on your perspective. You have a lot of additional features here, like the ability to view submittal response version history by clicking that little clock action icon. It's going to pull up a report for you. You have the ability to overlay submittal versions. So I just selected 2 versions as you can see there. Compare submittal versions. And again, that opens up a new tab. I'm just switching our screen share to that tab. And what you're seeing as this loads up, excuse the lag time as we're live and screen sharing here. So what you're seeing is, first and foremost, this is the Jet.Build drawing tool. The drawing tool lives under collaboration and drawings. However, it just automatically opens up when we did the submittal overlay. Nonetheless, you're seeing an add to this submittal with the turquoise information. If there was something deleted between these 2 submittal versions, then it would be in red, right? So that's the ability to overlay submittals and understand what was added or removed. Lots of additional functionality here. For example, the ability to add communications, the ability to search in the drawing, shape, add bubbles, annotate with comments, etc. However, I'm going to jump back now to the submittal landing page, right? So just referencing once more what we had done a moment ago is we selected 2 versions, overlaid those submittals, and that's what opened up the drawing tool in order to view, right, the overlay itself. Awesome. So now I'm going to take us to the submittal registry. Here, right, you have the ability to upload your registry via Excel. If you have it in a different format, or if you literally have it in Excel, even better and easier. What we try to do across Jet is provide the option to upload, download in multitudes of versions, whether that's PDF, Excel, an image, a shareable link, you name it. So we try to be very flexible to allow you to manage data how you see fit. You'll see here add submittal registry item. If you don't have these via Excel, you can just do this manually. It's very self-explanatory, right? Similar kind of dynamic like we saw a moment ago. Linking to the spec section if relevant as well. And that is your registry linking to your submittals and or spec sections. And what lastly, in terms of this solution that we're looking at, you have the ability to now overlay your registry against your project schedule, right? So again, I'm just flipping the screen share right now. So what you're looking at is our example Gantt schedule for our project. And what I've done there is I've just overlaid our submittal registry against our project schedule, which lives in the scheduling tool, and we'll go to that in a moment. So that's a real neat solution. Going back to our prior share screen, going back one step to the submittals landing page. I think that gives you a good overview. Some additional items is Jet is going to push out automatic email reminders for every action item that's open, coming due, and overdue continuously until it's addressed. You'll see here you have the ability to select, for example, anything that's overdue or open, right? So you can select those in particular and push out additional email reminders manually. All right, I'm going to now drop down to construction and schedules, and then I'll touch on specifications. But we just looked at our schedule overlay tool from the submittal perspective, submittal registry perspective. We also have schedule to schedule overlays, right? So adding a new schedule, you see in the top right, it's just effectively naming that file essentially. You'll see here the ability to link budgets. We'll touch on that in a moment. Also, what's really neat is once you have data on Jet, so schedule, budget, a group, you name it, you'll have the ability to copy and migrate that data to another project in your portfolio. So that tends to be really helpful. If, for example, you wanted to create a template project in its entirety, and then you just go into that template project and push data to each new project as you see fit, and then you could, of course, edit that information accordingly. Where it's also neat is if you're building similar projects, you can just duplicate that information and, especially at the start of a project, right? And that'll, kickstart your efforts to, set up that project accordingly. Anyways, I clicked on our example master schedule. You'll see here it's full Gantt chart scheduling capability with the ability to roll up, so link up schedules into your master schedule, for example. As you can see here, we linked the concrete schedule, which now therefore breaks into floors and stairs, etc. It'll go into whatever micro detail that you set up. You'll see here I clicked that task item for that concrete line item in the schedule. You'll see here the linked, right? That linked schedule. This is going to just pull from that prior landing page we were on. So linking schedules is really simple as that. It's a pretty awesome tool. Again, you'll have that ability to link budget line items. It's just simply copying a code and pasting it. And then here what you're seeing is the meat, right? Like the meat to the scheduling tool, the heart of the scheduling tool, where you have some self-explanatory stuff here, like naming the task, you have it as a milestone or not. You have your start and end date or working days or vice versa. So Jet will automatically populate whichever version you're adding and vice versa. So either dates and or working days. You got your progress percentage, and that's pushing out, as you progress on your schedule on your project. You got your delta for your dependency for your critical path. You got your critical path drop down here. So again, it's really easy because you just build it by step, and then this information is just going to populate. So it's just a matter of clicks, essentially. Obviously, you just color code it as you need, and that's it. That's how you build out your schedule. Going kind of one step back is you'll see on the top right here, adding a phase is just labeling that line item. So we were looking at concrete, it could be demo, whatever you want. And then once you have that phase, just call it demo. You'll see the ability to add tasks, and that was that screen that we were just on, right? So adding tasks to the phase of demo, for example. and then you can continue building out your dependency accordingly. You can always adjust this, right? So you can just add these tasks and phases and tasks. As you see here, demo is the phase, then tasks are below it. And you can just continue clicking and adjusting as you need on the task level. So what's also neat is we have a list view and a milestone view. That's also, again, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be exportable in different formats. And then you also have this shareable Gantt view. So I just click that link, and again, excuse the shifting in screen share, but just shifted to that next tab that opened up. And here you have a shareable Gantt chart schedule, right? So what's really neat about this is if you have a client, if you have a lender, if you have I don't know what, you can create a schedule specific for that entity, for that stakeholder, and just send them via URL link what, the schedule to the depth of detail you want to share to them. Click, copy, paste, share, and they'll have access to the page that you're seeing right now. All right, jumping back, again, just migrating the screen share. I'm going to go back to our schedule landing page. So again, you have that correspondence here as well, right, for every schedule. So again, every single item on Jet, you'll have the ability to communicate with whoever you want involved, right? So you'll see here this person action icon. That's how you're adding responsible individuals and our groups to this, to this schedule. And then if you wanted to communicate, you'll go to comms, right? You'll communicate accordingly. People will get notified via email and in-app in Jet. Specific to this line item, specific to the schedule. What you'll see here is also, again, an anchor button and a overlay, a compare action button. And what that does is, in this example, you'll see a base versus actual. We anchored our master schedule and then overlaid it versus our actual. So again, doing this base versus actual dynamic. Let me move to that open tab. And here you're seeing, right, actual versus base, right, per line item, per phase that we created in our schedule example. And this allows you to, for example, you create your base schedule, copy it, so duplicate it, use that duplicate as the actual running schedule, and therefore you'll have the ability, right, so that's literally 2 clicks to duplicate that schedule. And then you'll, therefore, for the duration of your project, you'll be able to compare what your initial intention was, base, right, versus your actual running project schedule, according to every single line item thereafter. Awesome. So jumping back to the other tab, sorry, just closing out some extras here. You'll see we are now going back to, on the left-hand side, construction module. Let's go up to RFIs. I know we're kind of short on time, so we're going to hit 1 or 2 more solutions. I want to keep these webinars short. I want to keep them at around 30 minutes. Feel free at any point to, drop a comment, ask a question, and I'll be, very, very happy to address that, maybe in this webinar, maybe in another webinar. But again, we publish these monthly basis. So happy to hear from you and happy to adjust according to what you want to see. Anyhow, drop into construction RFIs. So RFI landing page, right, it's going to look very similar to what we were looking at, with a handful of nuances compared to submittals, for example. Again, going back to what I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a structured template, so that simplicity is uniformed across Jet. Nuances that you'll see here, first and foremost, is going to be linked drawing sheet, right? So going up to the top right, add RFI. 2 nuances to this tool. One is the ability to link RFIs to drawing sheets, and vice versa as well. So from the drawing sheet, you can create an RFI. From the RFIs, you can link the drawing sheet. It's going to be interlinked either way. And then lastly, is going to be the bid RFI. And, a lot of these nuanced solutions will have these little question mark information boxes that'll tell you, right, what this solution is going to do. So what this does, adding this RFIs, bid RFIs, it allows bidders in your bid portal, in your bid room, in their bid portal, right, to allow them access to these RFIs. So if you don't add bid RFIs, then your bidders won't have access to the corresponding RFIs and vice versa, right? Pretty self-explanatory. Beyond that, the RFI tool is going to run exactly like you saw on the submittals, right? So you'll have correspondences, or you can just click the RFI line item itself. That'll bring you to the correspondence where you'll communicate, you'll address the workflow, you'll add files back and forth, etc. Again, you'll have the ability to add or remove recipients by just clicking that person action icon, uniform across Jet. You have the ability to send, as you see here, send link to the static page of the RFI. So you can, similar to what I had mentioned for sharing a URL link to whether it was the schedule tool, whether it was other information in general, you have the ability to push that out directly here on Jet as well. You can bulk select and close out, send email reminders, toggle open and close, right? So again, all similar to what we were seeing a moment ago. I should also add filters on the right hand side here. Submittals have this as well, where you have the ability to search keywords, users, groups, due dates, right? So that'll allow you to filter what you're looking at according to literally just whatever you want to see. And you could do a print log according to those filters as well, which is really neat. So you're seeing I just searched my name, so it'll open up everything that I'm either ball and court or involved in. I'm going to do print to PDF RFI. I'm going to switch the screen share tab, and you're seeing here, right, an RFI print log based on everything that I'm involved in, right, according to the search. You can also do that print log holistically, so you could do it for all of the RFIs in their entirety as well. Cool. So before I jump to another section, potentially something we'll address in another webinar, but you'll see reporting here on the bottom left. So, we have response rates for RFIs and submittals. So that's essentially performance metrics based on-time replies, based on due dates that have been assigned to your teams on RFIs and submittals. Then we also have an RFI and submittal snapshot that'll do exactly what it sounds like, give you a nice snapshot overview and some charts on, RFI submittal status, anything that's overdue, who's bottlenecking by how many days. So it's, again, just good performance metrics with accountability associated with them. All right, so I'm going to, I think, hit daily reports last. Maybe we'll do one more. I'll see where we're at in terms of timing. So I went to construction, daily reports landing page, right? So adding a daily report, you see on the top right here, what that does, it just literally logs the date itself. So this first line item, I'm going to go to our example here. Maybe I'll hit this new one. I'll see what this looks like. Yeah, I'm going to go one step back. Sorry for that, where I know we have one that's more filled out. So here's an example, this April daily report. So again, you're going to see view correspondence page, right? As I keep mentioning, you have the ability to communicate with your team for every line item. And in those comms, you also always have the ability to add files as well. So it's a very flexible model. It takes you off of emails and it centralizes everything to Jet. It also will index all that information. So everything, you see this top search bar. So this is kind of like a Google search internal to Jet. So you could just search whatever you want, and that'll include any correspondences that you've run through the platform. So you'll see here whether it gets logged. We have workforce, so you'll be able to log your workforce teams, hours, notes, etc. And as you log a workforce team, the next daily report, it'll already have this information populated for you to either remove or just continue logging their site progress. Inspections, right? Adding any of these is very simple. You could also link this to the inspections tool, as you see on the left. Inspections, log equipment, deliveries, safety occurrences. Safety occurrences allow you to either link an incident or create a new incident, and that will log on the left-hand side to our incidents tool. So if you need to obviously go through a more robust manner of logging and tracking response to a safety occurrence, you can do so directly from here and vice versa with the incidents tool. Open template, other items. So if you had anything you wanted to add here that we're not, logging by categories, this is again, open template. And then below, of course, you're going to see images with location, time, notes. And what's really neat about this solution is I've scrolled all the way up here. You'll see view report. I'm going to open up our tab that report produced. And here's an example of, the static report that each daily report will create. This will be your logo on top, unless, of course, you want to plug in Jet and just keep it as us. We'd appreciate that. jokes aside, you'll see here, right, weather gets logged. You have everything that you just saw, right, in a just more formal, nice format that you have the ability to, again, share via URL link and or PDF, right? Again, so that sharing capability we're very flexible with. Going back to the prior tab, going to our daily reports landing page now. So here you'll see the ability, this little arrow action icon that just immediately allows you to look at that finalized report we were just on. And that exists in a lot of, you'll see that throughout Jet, like schedules, for example, we have that. And you'll see here also send daily report. So that's without finalizing. So when you finalize a report, everyone who's involved in this, in this module, in this project, they'll receive an email notification that that daily report is finalized. You have that ability to push out daily reports from here as well. And then lastly, you'll see on the top right here, view project photos. Again, that opens up a new tab, switch in the screen share. Viewing project photos is real neat because what that does is it will organize your site images by day, by week, by month. And lastly, the very usable and functional element here is you'll also have the ability to share site images via URL link. So imagine you're, I don't know, a year and a half into a project and you got literally every 6 days a week of site images for a year and a half. You got a friggin', multiple gigabytes of information. Doesn't matter. You just send that URL link and your lender, your client, or whoever will be able to access the site images just via URL link in the format that you're seeing right here. All right, jumping back to our prior tab. Last thing about the daily reports function is, again, we'll address this at another time, but under reporting, you'll see workforce reports. So what that will do is it will consolidate actually, you'll be able to select the date range. So you can select, for example, a week. You can select, for example, a pay period, like, the month of your pay app, and run the report. It'll show you workforce data for that month based on hours that each team has been on site, averages, overtime versus regular time. So it's a really powerful report as a backup tool to your pay apps, for example, or invoices even, right? Okay, I'm going to hit, we spoke a lot about specifications as it relates to the linking to submittals and overlays and such. So I'll use that as our last solution that we'll touch on in construction, and we'll run another webinar for construction and hit the balance of the solutions as well as the reports that we didn't get to yet. As you can see, lots of functionality in Jet, so it takes a while to get through all of it. Anyways, construction specifications. You'll see again the ability to add spec book via Excel. What we find typically is that design teams will have it in an Excel format in some capacity, or they'll have the ability to produce it in an Excel format in some capacity, and hence adding it there. We encourage you to add the design teams to Jet, right? You get unlimited users, so really there's no reason not to. And in doing so, right, you get to consolidate where all of project data sits, as well as consolidate how you communicate and manage that information. Anyways, upload via Excel, very self-explanatory. We provide you the download template here as well for you to download and just adjust accordingly. Either way, you can always do this manually by adding division number and title. Once you have division number and title, you'll see here you can click into that division, add sections accordingly, add files to those sections accordingly. And something that I'd like to add is you'll see here copy spec book. So if you're going back to that concept of compounding effect that Jet provides, so if you're building similar projects, or if you're building even exactly the same project, if it's like a warehouse, right, or if it's like a master development single family home situation where it really is a lot of copy and pasting, you'll see here copy spec book, paste it to the next project that you're going to run in a similar fashion, and adjust accordingly if you need. So once you get some data on Jet, that's kind of like getting over the hurdle, and it becomes way easier thereafter. Cool. So I'm going to click into metals. Sorry, I thought we had. Give me one more try here. Give me one or two more tries. I'm going to click masonry. Nope. I thought we just. I'm looking for Well, we have a lot of nice data here. I was looking for an example where I forgot which one it was, so excuse me for that. I was looking for the example where we had actually broken it out by uh, uh, divisions, sections, and files. Anyways, you'll see here on the top, view spec book. So again, that opens a new tab. I'm going to switch the tab that I'm sharing. Viewing the spec book now, again, right, you get to, this is kind of what I was looking at. I guess Concrete is the one that had the files associated. Anyways, you can see here, you can have as many divisions, sections, files as is relevant to your project, which could be a massive, spec book. Again, shareable via URL link. So you can send your, teams this URL link, for example, your site teams, and they'll have access to the literal files themselves as well, so long, of course, as you've uploaded it in Jet. Also, something that's really neat to note is that if you've shared this link with them and you've since updated your backend, so let's say, for example, you shared this link and you've since added, I don't know, let's see finishes here, right? You've since added a lot of files to the finishes section, finishes division and sections. If that end user, if that stakeholder, if that site super, for example, refreshes this page, they'll have the updated information with those files associated that you've added since you originally shared. So it's a really powerful sharing tool, especially as it relates to file limitations when it comes to, for example, sharing via email. Also, something that had always bothered me when I used to be on job sites was when you were sharing on a SharePoint or a Dropbox or whatever, permission controls were just absolutely just insane. There was something always wrong with it. They were expiring. It was, you didn't have enough data, whatever it may be. Jet really simplifies that entire process and capability of sharing. All right, lastly, is you'll see this layers icon. So that's really neat because what that allows you to do is, I just have to pick the right one, sorry, is it will show you the associated, oops, sorry, I went all the way back to the landing page. So I'm going back to construction, specifications. So again, this layers icon, what that does, I could have sworn it was metals. Oh yeah, perfect. So I click that layers icon on metals. What that does is it brings me to the submittals that we've linked to the metals specs. So again, really powerful tool. Really need to just be able to see that interlinking in the product, and expedite kind of your processes accordingly, right? Awesome. So with that, I am going to end our session today. Appreciate you joining in. A reminder that we are going to upload this this webinar, as we do for all of our webinars, on our YouTube page. So you can always reference it. You can always tune into our YouTube page whenever you'd like to view it in hindsight. If you want us to review anything in particular for next month's session, again, as always, please just let me know. Love your feedback. I love to follow your lead in that capacity as well. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next month.